Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Tuesday morning to you all. Hope you're all right. Hope you are all looking after yourselves. In this video, we are doing the preview for the first leg in the Europa League versus Bodo Glimt. We're also going to be talking about the loan roundup, my favorite video that I do all week, talking about the players out on loan, coming to really the end now of the season, and it's crunch time for certain teams in terms of if they want to get promoted, they want to stay up, whatever it may be. So we'll get to that after the preview, though. So don't worry. If you're here for the preview and you're here for me to talk about Bodo Glimt, you're in the right place because we're going to start with Bodo Glimt. And it's a really, really interesting week this week with it being, in theory, once Thursday hits, it is the biggest week of the season because that will be two ties within that week. Now, Bodo Glimt are missing a few players through suspension and injury, so I'll talk about that as well. I'll give you a bit of a recap as to who they are as a team and what you can expect. We'll go through their Europa League results of the season as well. They've had a really strong Europa League campaign. They've only recently just started their league campaign in the Norwegian league, so there's not a lot to talk about there. I'll give you what they've done, but there isn't crazy amounts of data for the 4 games there, but we'll talk more about their Europa League campaign. And this week, we're seeing, is there financial reports that, Spurs can't spend? Is there talks of new managers? All of it is super irrelevant. And I think if you're one of those people that is too hell-bent and is too focused on new manager talk or, financial reports or buying of players, you're a part of the problem, in my opinion, because this is such a massive week and it's such an amazing opportunity to do something really special. Winning any European trophy is phenomenal, no matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're Real Madrid or if you are a team out in Kazakhstan. No offense to them. It's massive. And for us, for a team who hasn't had a lot of European success, it's an amazing opportunity for us to sort of get that ball rolling again. But also not only that, you win the Europa League, you're in the Champions League. That was the goal at the start of the season for all of us, is to want to be back in the Champions League. We obviously aren't going to be doing it through the league campaign. This is the opportunity. And you're 3 games away from winning the Europa League. Now, the irony is you don't actually have to win any game to get to the Europa League final. You could draw and get yourself through on penalties. But this game on Thursday is a huge opportunity, not to say fill your boots, as it's disrespectful to Bodo Glimt, not at all, actually. But it's an opportunity whilst Bodo Glimt aren't at full strength. They are missing a few players. They're missing a couple of really key players. It's an opportunity to win, a solid win, that allows you to go a week later in the away leg with a bit of a buffer, a bit of a comfort, and a bit of an opportunity to not panic like we did with Frankfurt. And look, Frankfurt, yes, are a better team than Bodo Glimt. There's no denying that. They're 3rd in the Bundesliga. You'd probably say Frankfurt this season are better than Tottenham. But my whole thing is it's not about who you play. It's not about when you play. It's about just getting the job done. And that's what this tie is all about. It doesn't matter that you might find on paper Bodo Glimt not to be, the world's greatest team. It's irrelevant, actually. Just get the job done. Morning to you all, by the way. I haven't missed any of your comments. Morning all. So let's talk a little bit about Bodo Glimt. And again, we'll do a quick recap as to who they are as a team. Okay. We'll fly through it. They play a similar system in regards to Tottenham, their 4-3-3 side of things. They build up in a 1-4-3-3 formation. They like to stretch the play. They like to overload the side that they're attacking on. E.g., like Tottenham. If you ever think of the left wing for Tottenham, where you normally have a Doggy, Maddison and Son, a lot of link-up play going on there. There's always an overload. We try and overload there and try and find the free player for the free pass. They are very, very similar in that regard. They have a dynamic approach that is all about creating numerical advantages and exploiting then the spaces. Like I said, they try and keep the width as well. So if they want to switch play and things like that, it's always on. They're one of their big things is always from one of their fullbacks moving into the midfield, and the other one bombing on, creating opportunities through the fullbacks, a little bit like we do. They play a high back line, a lot like we do. So, when we think of playing over the top, and we've had some success recently when we play the ball over the top in behind into the channel for a Solanke or a Richarlison to run onto, we should have some success in that regard. Now, they may sit back a little bit in the first leg, but they'll come out in the second leg and go for it. So some of this may not apply straight away in the first leg. It may apply in the second leg, but you get the idea. A lot of their attacks are set up through their CDM, their number 6, which is Patrick Berg. He is missing for this game. So it's a massive loss. And this is kind of like their architects, their conductor, the guy that pulls the strings. They're missing him, which is a huge loss. Huge loss. But the idea is they normally get the number 8s involved. They don't look at it as a 10 and an 8. They look at it as 2 number 8s. We, I think, at times look at it as like a 10 and 8. They look at it more as an 8 and 8. So they have that. They always try and find pockets in between the defense and the midfield. They normally have the 2 number 8s in that gap. So when we think about Bentancur, we think about Bergvall and Maddison or whoever it may be, is being aware that there's probably going to be someone behind you waiting for that ball to try and get to them and then to run onto your back 4. Being aware of that is massive. That's one of their big things. Like I said, numerical advantages. When we talk about that 1-4-3-3 build-up play that they make, you got to think, there's a guy, out from the back. Okay. When you think about that 4-3-3, they always press very far up. They stretch the whole field. And, in a place like Tottenham with such a large pitch, they will do that. Now, at times, they can also do a 1-4-1-5. So they actually match up 1-for-1 across your back line. So it pushes your fullbacks back, allowing then those 2 number 8s to find those pockets worth of space, like I talked about. So again, Bergvall, Maddison, Bentancur being very much more alert for that because it will happen. At final third, like I said, they always go for an overload. When we talk about Destiny, we talk about Madders and we talk about Sonny, we always try and overload that side. They do the exact same thing. Like I said, they move the other fullback then into the midfield to give you an overload in midfield as well. And obviously overlaps is their big thing. And the overlap coming from the fullbacks, you'll see it all day. They try and create a numerical advantage out there and then throw in the overlap. So then it means if the fullback has to go with the fullback, it leaves the player to cut inside and work with that. So, if it's Johnson, for example, defensively needs to be a lot more switched on than he was against other teams. He has done it a little bit more recently, but this is going to be another one of those games where at times he's going to have to be way more switched on. I could see Kulusevski starting on the right wing, if I'm honest. Again, defensively, a little bit more aware, works that little bit harder. I could so see that personally. It's not to say, by the way, they don't do underlaps, but overlaps are a big thing for them. The underlaps are more so done by number 8s as well as fullbacks, but number 8s a lot do the underlap. So when your fullback might go on the overlap, the number 8 will go on the underlap. So there you have it. And yeah, they obviously overload the box. So if you do clear it, you will be able to get counterattacks against this team. There will be opportunities for you there. So if you think about Kulusevski, who's fantastic on our counterattacks, he will have some success doing that as well. In terms of a press, they press very high. So when I talked about they play a high line, they press just as high, if not even higher, metaphorically. When it comes to like a more of a low block, and I think this is what we'll see in the first leg is more of a low block and a low press, very compact. You'll actually find, in my opinion, that if Johnson or Kulu or whoever's out on the right wing, if we're playing down the left, the opportunity to switch it will be on. And that's why I think Pedro Porro is in for a really massive game, because I think Pedro's going to start. And the ability that Pedro has to whip in a good cross and to get on the ball and create is very much there. I think the opportunity to switch play is going to be on. And I think Porro is going to be someone that's going to massively benefit from that. I think Kulu as well. Again, they've got a great relationship, a great chemistry, that if Porro is going on the overlap, which some Spurs fans think we never overlap our fullbacks, which is quite lazy of them. We very much do. It will allow Kulu to cut inside. And if they try and go for Kulu, then Porro's going to get a free roll to run on the outside and whip in crosses. And that, we saw Solanke with a fantastic header against Liverpool. We've seen Richarlison score a header in the Forest, Forest last Monday. So the opportunities will be there when it comes to whipping in crosses. So look, I'm not going to bore you with too much more on that side of things. All right. I think we get the idea that they're very similar to us. What you see of Tottenham is what you will see of Bodo Glimt. So there is that, you know. In terms of their campaign this year, we've kind of already been through it, but we'll quickly run through the results again. They started with Porto at home and won 3-2. 0-0 away to Union St. Gilloise, the Belgian team. 2-1 away to Braga. So they do well against Portuguese teams, just a heads up. They lost at home to Karabag 2-1. They lost away to Manchester United 3-2. Beat Besiktas 2-1. Maccabi Tel Aviv, they beat 3-1 at home and drew 1-0 away to Nice. They went into the playoffs where they lost 2-1 away to FC20 and then beat them 5-2 at home. Their first knockout game was Olympiacos at home, where they won 3-1 and lost 2-1 away. So they go through on aggregate. And then last round, they had Lazio, where they beat them 2-0 at home and lost 3-1 away and then won on penalties. So there's some differing results. I think, you know, beating Porto and Braga and Besiktas. I mean, Olympiacos, that's no mean feat. And beating Lazio is brilliant. I mean, the one thing I would say is losing to Karabag at home is a big one because we beat Karabag at home this season. They aren't any good. So we'll take that into account. When we look at them this season in the Europa League, they played 14 times and won 7, so 50% win ratio. They've scored 27 goals in that time, 2 a game. They've conceded 20, which is about 1.5 a game. They've kept 3 clean sheets in that 14, so 1 in every 5. They average nearly 2 yellow cards a game as well. So they're gonna commit some fouls. Going to commit a lot of fouls. They create about 12 to 13 attempts a game. If they're of their 27 goals this season, 21 have been inside the area. So, you know, when I talk about the overlaps and their fullbacks and the number 8s on the underlaps, it's like us. We try and pull for cutbacks, you tap it in. They're the exact same. Only three goals have been outside the area. So make of that what you need. All right. So there you have it. A little bit on there, you know, in terms of conceded, they conceded 20 in that, like I said, 20 in those 14 games. We're talking about 1.5 goals a game they've conceded. So, like I said, at home, we should be winning this game, right? I think even Bodo Glimt at full strength, we should still be winning this game at home. The away legs, obviously, a very much more fascinating fixture. But because you're at home, there is that possibility. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the injury situation and suspension situation that Bodo Glimt find themselves in. So they're missing 3 players through suspension. Like I said, Patrick Berg, the number 6, he is out due to a Europa League suspension of yellow cards. Also, his midfielder, Hakon Ivyen, not sure how to say that. It's a J in the middle of that word, so apologies. He's also missing. Forward Andreas Helmerson, who scored against Lazio. He's banned for this game because he was sent off in that game. Apparently, there are further worries for winger Olo Blomberg, who picked up an injury this month. He's a doubt for Thursday night's match, so maybe he's back for the second leg, maybe. Also in a victory at the weekend, Odin Bjortuft. Apologies if I said that wrong as well. He was forced off in the 54th minute holding his groin. There's been no real wording coming out about what or how serious it'll be. The manager said he doesn't know anything. I never enjoy a player laying down, but the medical staff are looking into it. So there you go. There's nothing really going on there. Obviously for Spurs, obviously Kinski won't be in the squad. Neither will be Turbo Timo. And obviously Son is a doubt. We'll see on Son. We're not sure just yet. I mean, this season in the Norwegian league, they've played 4 games. They've won 3. They've drawn 1 in that time. They also won in the Norwegian Cup as well. Looking at it, though, they're coming into this game with form. You know, 4 wins in there, 3 wins in the last 5 with a draw away to Molde and obviously losing to Lazio in that second leg. So coming with a little bit of form. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game massively. You know, like I said, it's a huge opportunity for us to win. I think we need to win. I think we need to win by a couple. You know, if it's 2-0, 3-1, 4-2, whatever. I think we need to win by a couple. I think we need to go in the second leg with a couple of goals buffer. Now, the way I see it, let's say you win 3-1, which is actually my prediction. I think we do win 3-1 because they are missing some very key names. You know, you're missing two midfielders, you're missing your centre back, you're missing a winger and a striker. That's a lot to miss. It was a lot to miss when Spurs missed it. So it's a lot to miss when another team misses it. I am honest. I am fair. I'm consistent. I just think we obviously gave ourselves a massive panic attack when it came to Frankfurt. We went 1-0 up in the second leg, which is, which was great. And we defended quite well and we did pretty solidly in that game. But we didn't do ourselves any favour by going in there and setting ourselves up for pain potentially. So needing to go into this game with a little bit of a buffer will be massive. Because I also think in the second leg, I think Spurs will score. And because of that, that's a huge extra buffer. So if you are, let's say, 2 goals up on the tie going into the second leg, I think Spurs will score again. That's 3 goals. You'd be expecting them Bodo Glimt to score to get 4-1. Yeah. Yeah. 3-1. 3-1. 3-1. Apologies. They would need to tie us from the first leg. That's just to go to extra time. So that's why I'm saying a 2-goal buffer. That's get a 2-goal buffer, get another one. They're gonna need to make up. What am I doing? 3-1. Yeah, they would need 3-1. I'm being an idiot. Apologies. So look, that's my thinking on that side of things. I think Spurs will win 3-1. The irony is this season in the domestic league, we've been poor. In the cup games, we've actually been all right. You know, obviously semi-final of the Carabao Cup, we obviously got knocked out of that due to 3,000 million players missing of injury. Same with the Villa game. And I actually think if we had a fairly healthy team against Villa, we'd have beaten them in the cup, in my opinion. With this game, with the Europa League, Spurs' form in the Europa League has been very, very solid. Very, very solid, you know. So it's something that I always hold my hat on and say, actually, we've been good in Europa League. Let's make that continue. So that's my thinking. But yeah, I think 3-1 is where I'm going to go. I think my starting 11 will be Vic, Destiny, Mickey, Kuti, Porro. My midfield 3 would be Bentancur, Bergvall, Madison. And then I think the front 3 will be, I think it should be Tell. The reason is because I don't think Son is going to be fit enough to give you as much as you would need from a starting berth. But I could see if he's fit and able to be in the squad, we'll know probably a little bit more today and tomorrow. I would have him come off the bench as the impact sub, because bringing Son off the bench as a fairly healthy Son is absolutely game changing. I know some Spurs fans think Son's the worst player in the world, but statistically, he's actually had a really good season. People are going to hate that. They're going to hate that I've just said that, and they're going to get really angry because they think Son's actually crap, but he's not. A healthy Son is still a good player, and a healthy Son off the bench is still a really, really game changing substitute to have. Solanke scoring at the weekend. Like I said, there wasn't many positives from the weekend. I think, I think Bodo Glimt fans maybe look at it and go, oh, Spurs, look, Spurs lost their last 2 games. It's like, okay. Don't look at that last game as anything to take from that. There wasn't enough starters in that game for you to think that that's going to be happening this Thursday. Nor are you Liverpool at Anfield. And then, I think the right wing, I think Kulu's going to start. I think you play Kulu. Best player of the season, you play Kulu. That's my thinking. Andy, I did see your comment say, do you think we'll make the final? I do think we will make the final, yes. Man, I'm so frustrated. We are not one of the best clubs yet. We are still a big threat. These fans are afraid that we'll bottle to Bodo Glimt. I know they're a good side, but we're ahead of it. No, I don't think we'll bottle to Bodo Glimt. I think we'll win by 1 or 2 on aggregate. That's my thinking. Apparently, some fans are so desperate to get Ange out, they'd be fine with us losing. They're not fans. There you go. So, I think 3-1. What do we think? What are we thinking for results? Let me know what you think the result's going to be of the first leg. I'm not really interested in the second leg just yet. We're not there yet. Give me your first leg. Give me the scoreline. And if you want to give me who your goal scorer is going to be, you give that to me. I've gone 3-1 personally. My My goal scorers, Lucas Bergvall, Solanke, and Tell. That's my thinking. I'm going to go 3-1. I think that's what I'm going to go for. I think something against was based on a poor effort. Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, I think so as well. Baz thinks 3-1 as well. Set us up well for the second leg, but we need to be locked in both games. Absolutely. Even I can manage Spurs to the final. Famous last words. Baz actually reckons 4-1. Baz, you can only make one prediction, mate. You can't have loads. It's not how this works. It's not multiple choice. You can select multiple, all right? Graham still doesn't like making predictions. That's up to you. You don't have to make a prediction. You know, it's just my. I know there's one guy that commented on a prediction video recently and got really angry that I made a prediction, which is quite hilarious when that's all we do as fans to predict a game. Are we going to win this game or not? Are you talking about my prediction? Sorry, Baz. Yeah, no, I still think 3-1. I think they score. I think they score. I know Steve. Steve will give you 5-0. We know 5-0 is what Steve's going to go for. Cozy reckons 5. Cozy 5-0. Cozy, don't follow Steve. Don't follow Steve. He's a dangerous person. Dangerous person to follow. But he reckons John O'Brace, Slanky Kulu, and Porro. I think Porro gets a goal or an assist. I think he gets an assist for maybe the Slanky goal. I think so. Hakon Isaac Sarak. What a name that is. Tottenham is lucky Bodo Glimt have 5 injured or suspended first team players of a squad that isn't really big. One of them is their captain. It is what it is. You know, I feel sympathy for Bodo Glimt, but when Spurs were missing 12 players this season, nobody gave us any sympathy. So I will give you some sympathy, but it was also is the game's the game and you have to get on with it now. You know, we were told to get on with it with half a squad out. Unfortunately for everyone else, they're going to have to get on with it. You know, no one in the media liked to report that we missed 12 players through injury. But then we report that we've lost games. So fortunately, as much as I may feel sympathy for you, and I do, it's not easy. You're missing, you know, quite key guys. Nobody gave us any sympathy for missing a goalkeeper, the left back, the centre backs, the CDM, the number 10, the right winger, and the striker for most parts of this season. Actually, 2 strikers as well. Richie was out for a while. You know, playing an 18-year-old central midfielder centre back. No one gave us any sympathy. So I feel for Bodo Glimt, but at the same time, game's the game. If we don't get any sympathy for 12 players missing, no one else should get any sympathy for anything else. So I feel for you, though. I do. I'm going to give you sympathy, but that's because I'm a normal fan. Vault13 says, I'm from Pakistan and I'm supporting Tottenham from 2017. And in my area, there are rarely any real football fans. All of them are glory hunters. I love my club no matter win or loss. I will love them. Appreciate that, Vault. I think you might be my first viewer from Pakistan as well, which is pretty damn cool. That's pretty damn cool. Tel has the same market value as the whole Bodo Glimt. Don't look at that too much, mate. That's what you want. Cozy reckons 2-0. XL reckons 2-0. So XL says he could coach Spurs to the final, but then predicts we're going to draw 2-0. So that's XL saying that he's better than an actual professional manager. Interesting. Jazz reckons 4-1. Interesting. Andy reckons, not me, Andy. Another Andy reckons 2-1. Another work performance in the second leg, which drives me mad as it shows we can do it. It's just stubbornness. Tough test will be stopping their play down the left and behind the striker. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the overlap from fullbacks, the underlap from number 8s, they'll create pockets of space. And that's why I'm saying, you know, players like Lucas Bergvall, who at times switches off a little bit defensively, needs to have one of those games where he switched on. Because he does have those games. He does also have games where he doesn't really clock on to things. But I think he's going to have those games. I think we'll have this is an early prediction, because it's Tuesday. I think Rodrigo Bentancur is in for a Rolls-Royce performance. I think Rodrigo is going to be phenomenal. They're better off attacking down the left, because if they try and put the ball in behind and Mickey van der Ven's around, they're going to have absolutely no luck against him. I think, Destiny, look, Liverpool side, Destiny in those 2 legs against Frankfurt was one of the best players on the pitch for both teams. So I think, you know, Destiny's so much better when Mickey's playing with him. I think you'll see another return to a solid performance for Destiny. I think Maddison needs to have a big game. I think he needs to have a big game, as one of the leaders of the team. Romero's going to be on the pitch. Vic will be there. Will Sonny start? I don't think so. So I think some of those, the leaders of the leadership group, I think they need to have a big game. They need to will us on to a good result. I mean, look, going into the second leg, if you're level on the tie or only a goal up, it's not great. Going into the second leg, if you're 2 or more, now you're cooking. But getting that result is another story, We don't do that very frequently. But if we do it, I'll feel a hell of a lot more confident about the second leg. But we also mustn't underestimate, this is the other thing, Spurs have lost to lesser teams than Bodo Glimt in knockout football. And not even long ago we did that. We have to take them seriously. And from minute one, flying around the pitch, intensity. Look, there's going to be a tifo in the south stand. That's going to be fascinating to see what that truly, truly looks like. I think it's going to be really, really good. I've been in those tifos before. They look magnificent. I wish we did more of them at times because we want to create that atmosphere. The whole idea of that south stand was to be more like a Borussia Dortmund stand. And I don't even think it's like a Borussia under 15 stand. And that's not, for the most part, that's not on the fans, by the way. I'm not digging out the fans. Please don't think I am. Okay. But the atmosphere needs to be raucous. I don't want this idea that the fans should turn up. They should be wowed with football and then get into the game. Just get into the game first off. Just absolutely raucous atmosphere. I don't want to hear any Bodo Glimt fans, because in the first leg against Frankfurt, all I heard was Frankfurt fans. All those things. And the fans are great at Spurs. They can be really, really great. And I hope that they show everyone why they are so great. I want that because they are. So, look, I'm looking forward to that. I just think those players who are big name players, and hell, some of those players might want an Atletico Madrid move. Well, if you want one, show up in this game. Because Atletico Madrid aren't going to want losers turning up. They're going to want winners turning up to their club. Simeone won't be taking on losers. He's taking on winners. So just saying, Rodrigo and Kuti, if you want that move, just saying. Complacency and not turning up is always a worry. Exactly. Like I said, we have lost to lesser teams. We need to be taking this team as seriously as any other big team in world football or in even the Premier League. Treat them like a Premier League side. Take it seriously, turn up, fly around, intensity, pressing from the off. Because Spurs, when they have a conjoined press, are a phenomenal pressing team. And we can press to every corner in the pitch. And I know at times we've struggled due to lack of health, that players are playing 3 times a week and it's hard to press the way we normally like to press. But this squad is nearly as healthy as ever. Press like madmen. Absolutely send it. And look, even if you send it and you're dead on the 60th minute, we'll get, even if, like, for example, it's Bergvall and he's just absolutely dead on his feet because he's pressed like a madman. Well, there's an absolute Duracell bunny that you can bring on, Pape Matar, who will just press to every corner of the pitch over and over and over. And that's why I think it's going to be massive that they do that. So let's see. Who would I want to face in the final? Probably Man United. Not because I think Man United are a good or a bad team, purely for the fact of Bilbao would be at home in a final. And they're a really solid team. They're a really great defensive side. Probably wouldn't want to have to deal with that in the final. So, but I'm not going to worry about the final until I get past that second leg. Because if we don't get past Bodo Glimt, I don't give a crap about the final. I won't be watching it. I wouldn't care. Get past Bodo Glimt and then we'll talk about the final. Do you think the players are following Ange's tactics in Europe? The second leg and the last round suggests now, which is a problem for both sides. They followed Ange's tactics for sure. Steve, 5-0. Weldy from Porro. Thoughts on Tottenham most likely have to sell to buy? I've calmed down on that. It's Matt Law. He doesn't really have any real credibility when it comes to Spurs reporting. So there you go. There is the Bodo Glimt preview. Now I'm going to do a bit of a loan roundup. So if you're here for just the preview, I wish you a great day and look after yourselves and have an absolute belter. But I'm going to be talking about the loan roundup because we got some cracking stuff in the loan roundup this week. Obviously, coming towards the end of the seasons in the Premier, the sort of the English pyramid. I think we've got about 1 game left to go. So let's jump in and talk. And I'm going to start with Leeds United last night, who beat Bristol City at home 4-0, which Great result for them. Takes them back top of the league with one game to go. All they have to do is match Burnley's result. They've got a plus 50, plus 13 goal difference on Burnley on the same amount of points. Winning yesterday obviously was massive. And Manor Solomon, another assist. 40 games this season, 9 goals, 13 assists. It's a goal or an assist contribution, less than one in every 2 games. So that's massive for old Manor. Like I said, a few weeks ago, I was like, I think Spurs will get 10 million. If Spurs get anything less than 15 million now, I think we failed. His value keeps going up. The more he's strung together sort of game after game after game, he has been one of Leeds' better players this season. Absolutely. A ball in for the first goal, by the way, from Manor is absolutely sensational. So fair play to them. And Leeds United, obviously, like I said, back in the Premier League next season. Will they come up as champions or will they come up as runners-up? We'll have to wait and see for the last game of the season. Moving on, more in the Championship. Ashley Phillips Stoke losing 2-0 at home to Sheffield United. Ashley Phillips playing 90 minutes. 18th in the league right now. Technically speaking, they still can get relegated, Stoke, because they're only 2 points clear. And Hull City are in the bottom 3, have a better goal difference than them. So it's not guaranteed. Stoke on the last game of the season will be playing. Let's have a look. Derby County away. Oh, my word. What a game that is. Derby County are also down there with Stoke. They're 1 point behind with also a better goal difference. So, and Derby are coming off the back of 2 wins. This is going to be a really intense weekend. I mean, just to give you a heads up, 5 teams from 18th to 22nd are separated by 2 points. And Plymouth Argyle, who are 23rd, can still, I mean, they would need an almighty goal swing, but they can still get, numerically, they're not out of it, but they're pretty much gone. So there is that. West Brom, 0-0 draw away to Cardiff, Lancashire, an unused sub. He's going to get on loan. He's going to go on loan next season. I think that is going to be needed. QPR losing 5-0 at home to Burnley. Again, they're fighting for the championship title. Yang didn't play, so don't worry. Not for him, at least. Moving down to League One, which obviously, Leyton Orient in League One. Leyton Orient, 5 wins in their last 5. The most informed team in League One. Sitting only, though, ahead of Reading on goal difference. They beat Wycombe 1-0. Clean sheet for obviously Keeley. Donnelly played the 90 minutes. And, you know, if they're finishing off this season, Leyton Orient, with away to Huddersfield, who are, where are Huddersfield? 10th. Okay, Huddersfield season's done. They've lost their last 5 as well. Reading, who are they playing in the last game of the season? They're playing at home to Barnsley, who are 2 places below Huddersfield. 1 win in their last 5. So, yeah, Reading probably going to win that game. Leyton Orient probably going to have to do the same because they're only clear on goal difference by a +8. So, they're going to need to do it. It'd be bonkers if they get into the playoffs, by the way, in League One. They would have deserved it immensely because they've been phenomenal. Since really Donnelly and Keeley started playing more regularly, they've turned it all around. And they're winning 1 in every 2 games. You know, they're pretty good defensively. It's just, yeah, they would have deserved it. It'd be massive. If Leyton Orient go to the championship, that would be huge. Absolutely huge. Mansfield Town losing 4-0 away to Birmingham. Birmingham on top of the league. 105 points. They're 16 points clear of Wrexham. I mean, it's not a shock, to be honest. Matthew Craig played 45 minutes for Mansfield. Mansfield are safe for the season. They won't be relegated. They can fall a bit further in the league, but they are safe. They won't be getting relegated. Moving on, though, to Notts County in League 2. Sitting in 5th. They'll be in the playoffs for this season. Who they play is obviously to be determined. Notts County can still get automatically promoted, actually. They've got a better goal difference than 3rd. They're 3 points behind. So they would need Bradford City to lose and Walsall to lose or draw. And Notts County would have to win to get that automatic promotion because the top 3 in League 2 go up. And then if they don't, they're going to be in the playoffs guaranteed. Who they play on the last game of the season? Doncaster. They're playing Doncaster at home, and Doncaster are first, 1 point clear of Port Vale. They're going for the title. 3 wins in their last 3. County only 1 win in their last 5. It's going to be a difficult and tall ask to do. But I think George Abbott scored the goal of the season as well for League Two. That's phenomenal for him. He actually scored in a 3-1 win away to Bradford, which Bradford was sitting in third, by the way, the team that is in the last automatic promotion spot. So that's massive for them. It's a 6 point. That's a 6 point swing. He also scored the opening goal in that game. So another goal for George this season. I mean, 12 goal contributions in 45 games from central midfield. Phenomenal. Notts County have got 2 of the top 3 goal scorers this season, with Jatta and McGoldrick scoring 18 and 17 between, so 35 between them. You never know with Notts County. You never know. Moving over to old Scotland. Scotland with Aberdeen. Aberdeen winning 1-0 at home to Hibs, which is a cracking result for them. Obviously, Alfie Dorrington featured, started, and they win. And he kept the clean sheet, which is 4 clean sheets in 13 games, 1 in every 3. That's nothing to sniff at. Hibs were obviously ahead of them in the league. They're now joint third with Hibs with the worst goal difference. You never know. You just never know. Can they get in that top 3? They're too far behind. Right. Actually, I don't know how many more games of the season they're going to have to play, to be honest. Let's have a look. Okay, there's a few more games. Yeah, there's a few more games. All right, they can still get top 3. They won't be getting top 2, but they still get top 3. Out to Belgium, a double header for Westerlo versus Michelin. First game, 3-2 win away. Vuskovic scored an own goal, but then got an assist, so it leveled up pretty nicely. Alfie Devine was a 65th minute sub. I mean, 7 goals, 3 assists in 33 games with like 5 clean sheets for Vuskovic. It's been a hell of a season. The development has been crazy. He has really, really shown up and shown out. In the return fixture, it was a 2-2 draw at home. Vuskovic playing the 9 Devine getting the 45. So, hey, 4 points from that. Nothing too shabby. Got some breaking news for Alejo Valise. He actually featured minutes. He got minutes in a game. They lost 1-0 away to Villarreal. He came on the 76th minute. It's been a while since I've talked about Alejo Valise getting any minutes for Espanyol, which is still nice to see. What happens in some of them, I really don't know, but it's nice that he's getting some minutes. And finishing off with Johnny Cardoso. Now, some people have taken umbrage with the fact that he isn't on loan. I do it because a few of you just wanted me to keep you updated with his progression. I know he's not on loan. I'm not an idiot, I promise. But they won 5-1 Betis at home to Valladolid, who are obviously bottom of La Liga. 38 games played, 4 goals, 1 assist, 12 clean sheets in that time. So 1 in every 3, basically, for clean sheets. You know, Betis obviously fighting for Champions League football next season. Cardoso has been a massive part of that. I've been watching a little bit more of him recently. He looks a talented player. Again, Spurs have that buy option of him in the summer. But the whole thing with that buy option really depends on who the new manager is and does the manager want him? Because if the manager doesn't want him, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen, is it? You know? So there you go. I've missed loads of comments. I apologize if I have. I'll check if what Romano said. I've not had a look. Milton, how are you, my friend? How are you? I did ask you how you were, Milton. You never responded to one of my comments. I hope you're all right, mate. Jan Kjell Severson. What a name that is. Nice to hear you think you are true before matches played. Big-headed Tottenham, Paul. I'm not sure what that means, mate. Sorry. Hakon's back. He said, I hope people stop using we have to play Bodo as an excuse. They forget that Bodo have to play on unfamiliar grounds as well. They've deserved being in the semi for the quality of the team. Absolutely. I mean, look, Hakon, you know, maybe you weren't here because we talked through their results for the Europa League this season. Obviously, they've played 4 games in the domestic league. There's not really much to take from that. But, you know, beating Lazio at home, beating Porto at home, winning away to Braga, you know, these are good results. There's nothing to sniff at. You know, they're very good results. You know, if you were offered as a Spurs fan beating Porto at home and beating Lazio at home and, you know, winning away to Braga, you take it. Absolutely. So no, you'll have some fans not thinking much of them, but that's really not what we do here. We have a good conversation. We have a grown-up conversation, and we aren't underestimating them here. Not at all. I did a video not long ago. You may not have seen it. Don't worry. I did a video not long ago where I actually did a breakdown as to what Bodo Glimt are all about. Style of play. Certain players, X, Y, and Z, and it was a really, really great video, and a lot of great Norwegians and Bodo Glimt fans commenting on the video saying, oh, you might want to think about this, you might want to think about that. And it made me sort of think, actually, maybe I know a little bit more about Bodo Glimt than I ever thought I may know now. So they're a good team. They know what they need to do. It's one of those things where they maybe don't have star players in terms of in world football, but they're a team. Every player knows what they're doing, when they're doing it, and why they're doing it. They're extremely well drilled. Obviously, the manager's been around with Bodo Glimt over half a decade now, 6, 7 years. Every year, that system gets more and more refined. That's why they know what they're doing. DJ, how are you? I've gone 3-1 Spurs. Remember, he's not very good for ear ball, and he hasn't got a lot of pace. It's a very good player with those two things. Is a problem when the ball crossing. Not sure what you mean, Ashley. Bodo lost at home to Carrier Bag this season, so no excuses can be made not to go through. Look, I'm not going to worry too much about the away leg just yet. First leg, massively. We've got to be doing that. FC, by the way, congrats to George Abbott for goal of the season. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It's an absolute banger. And he's been phenomenal. He has been phenomenal for Notts County. He's been one of the players of the season in that league as well. And I hope Notts County come up, because every time we loan a player to a team and they play him and he has a bit of success, I'm fond of that team for taking a chance on that young player. Leighton Orient, fond of them for taking a chance on a couple of players. Notts County, same thing. Plymouth last season took Devine and Phillips. I was fond of them for that. It was an absolute crap fest last season with all the issues they had, but I was fond of them for doing it, The Vliet sign does look odd. Scarlet Lancashire, similar age and ability. If you're on Discord, we just sorry, if you do want the Discord link for being a Spurs fan, maybe it isn't as interesting for Bodo Glimt fans. I will put it here. Jazz is the leader. Jazz does what they want. I'm just tagging along. I'm like, Jazz is the leader. I'm the sidekick. The real question is, who will take advantage of whom? They have to be feeling confident of their chances based on our current form. They're missing a lot of key men, Michael. Also, in the Europa League, Spurs are in good form. And I look at Europa League as a separate entity when it comes to Spurs now. Also, the last two games, Spurs weren't playing full strength 11s. Mickey and Romero played 45 minutes between the two games. Bentacle didn't play at the weekend. Porro didn't play at the weekend. Desi's played one game. So, yeah. I don't take too much from those two games, if I'm honest. I think those two games, we were just sort of biding our time, twiddling our thumbs ahead of this game on Thursday. So, that was my thinking, at least. As Norwegian, I think Spurs will win comfortably Thursday, but we may lose at Aspmyra. I assume is their stadium. There you go, learn something new. Spurs need a good result at home, I believe at least 2-0. Yeah, I think 2-0 or a 2-goal buffer is definitely needed. I feel all of our players will go on a loan. Will go on loan a league higher than they are, and maybe Yang gets some minutes in the friendlies next season if he isn't ready for another loan in the Championship. Yeah, I think so. Donnelly, Keeley, they could be. I mean, I expect Donnelly to maybe they look what Donnelly's got to give you in pre-season, but I think Donnelly will maybe go to a really solid loan team in the Championship. Lancashire the same. Keeley maybe the same as well. Actually, Keeley will go out on loan, I think, next season. I think Abbott probably a higher loan spell. Hell, I mean, Abbott, if Leighton Orient don't go up, send Abbott to Leighton Orient. Why not? Send him in there. Matthew Craig, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they're going to do with him, if I'm honest. It worked last year in League Two. It hasn't worked this year in League One with Barnsley or Mansfield. Yeah, I think that's probably the way I would go about it. Uncle Andy, do you think Cardoso will come to Spurs? You've retracted 2 other comments. I dread to think what they were. It depends on the manager, mate. Until we know the manager is, I'm not going to give an answer on that, unfortunately. Andy's in the navigator of the Discord channel. So when the Inside Spurs rally car is in a ditch, it is Andy's fault. It's never the driver's fault. Ask a rally driver. So no errors are Jazz's fault. Yeah, Jazz is never at fault. It's all me. You blame me. You blame me. Don't blame Jazz. Jazz is a legend. Donnelly will come down. Donnelly will come down to if we get in Europe. No, I think Donnelly will go out on loan, maybe high championship side next season, kind of like we did with Skip. Like Norwich was obviously a great loan spell for him. I think Donnelly might get something similar, and I think that'd be great if he goes out on loan to a really good like championship side. It's kind of like what we hoped of Lancashire. It was like Lancashire's going to a playoff hunting side, and then they signed Adam Armstrong like the next day, and it was like that screwed us. I hope Richie won't play. I'm afraid he'll have one of those games where he's impossible. This from an Evertonian who still adore him. Well, he's in form. 2 goals in his... Well, 2 goals against Wolves and Forest. He's in a bit of form. He'll be up for it. He's fit again, finally. Hasn't said that all season. But Solanke's also scored against Liverpool. So both guys are coming in with a little bit of momentum. Solanke obviously scored against Frankfurt as well in the second leg. So, yeah, I think both guys are coming in with some good form. You think Solanke came off the bench for about half an hour against Forest. Obviously, Richie scored in that game. So, yeah, both guys are coming in with some great form. So, not too sure. I see Alfie will be sold. Divine, you mean? Yeah, maybe. Unless he gets a good championship loan spell or even somehow breaks into the first team squad. Probably. We need to get a good score at home, absolutely. So, yeah, look, really fascinating stuff. By the way, I'd shout out, Hakon, obviously, the Jan and the other Norwegians who have been in the chat, or Bodo Glimt fans have been in the chat saying X, Y, and Z, hey, think about this, think about that. I really do appreciate it. It's great to have, fans of that club who maybe we as English fans maybe don't know a lot about. It's great for those guys to come in and go, you may want to think about this thing. You may want to think about this thing or this player or that player or this system or this style of play. We as a community, we all learn from that. As much as it's great for me to say that and maybe teach, it's nice when fans come in and go, hey, think about this. We all learn from it. So I really do appreciate the Norwegians and the Bodo Glimt fans who have come in. Obviously, if you're watching this back and commenting, I appreciate that as well, because it feels like a great opportunity for us all to learn a little bit more about your wonderful club. But look, on that note, I'm going to go. I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of your mornings, your afternoons, your evenings, wherever you are in the world. I'll speak to you all tomorrow to talk a lot more about Spurs, and I hope you have a magical day. Take care, everyone. Peace.